All right, guys, how's it going? Welcome. Dab here. So what we're going to be doing today is just practicing some of these what they call verb endings. Now, with verb endings, there's a couple of things we need to know. The first thing is that in German, we have a verb ending on everything. In the verb ending, honestly, like for example, in number 1, you have a stem, and then you have an ending. Say, Dab. Well, a stem and an ending? Yes. This right here, when you talk about me doing something, or him doing something, or her doing something, or us doing something, that en will change to an extent. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. If we use the word Glauben, which means to believe, you would say ich glaube. All right? So ich glaube means I believe. If I want to say you believe, I would say du glaubst. And I don't know why it's doing that. All right, so du glaubst. If you were to say, and again, it uses that st that you see beautifully highlighted. If you were to use okay, now here's what we call second person. I mean, what second person is, when you're talking about somebody else, like her or him, or he or she, or it doing something, we use the T. So instead of having a glaube, you would say glaubt with a T. All right? So that's the same thing with she. If you want to say that she believes, sie glaubt. Okay? The next one is wir. Now, wir means we. Wir gets this ending here. It gets an en. This is probably the easiest one. In my opinion, when you see the word glauben, it doesn't change. But that only works if you're talking about us believing something. Wir glauben an Gott. Yeah, we believe in God. Or wir glauben nicht an Gott. We don't believe in God. So that's one way. This ear form, I'm going to tell you, is probably the least common, but it's worth knowing. But just keep in mind that this is just how you say y'all or you all, depending on how you are in Texas. But it gets a T. That one is very similar to the T over here, and it's the same. Honest to goodness, it is. So if you're going to use ihr, you all, glaubt, you all believe. Okay? So, the question is, and there's one more thing here we have. This is called a sie plural. Now, when you're talking and using sie as in talking to they believe, then it would be sie glauben. Okay? Same thing as the wir up here. So when you say they believe and we believe, it's the same. But it changes when you use some of the others. Okay, so let's see if we can do a couple of these together, and then I'm going to have you do a couple of them by yourself. Okay, now one of the things that you're going to notice is that the focus for today is really on the mechanics of the activity, not necessarily about understanding what everything is. I'll go over the first 5 or so with you so that you get an idea, but it doesn't mean that you have to know everything. Mostly we have to identify who's doing the action. So in this first one, let's move it down like about right here. It says Max. Max, we're going to use glauben. So because Max is like one person, and we're kind of like saying he, but instead of saying he, we say Max. We're going to use this. So Max glaubt. Oh, it's wanting to select for me. Okay. Glaubt, die Idee ist gut. Okay. And then we have, so this one we're going to have that stem, and again, it's confused. Okay. So we're going to have glaubt. Okay. Then we have ach nein, ich bleibe wahrscheinlich sitzen. Okay, what that means, so we're going to use bleibe. We're going to take out that N. Because when you use ich, we have the E, right? So we're going to take off the N. And what that means is, ach nein, oh no, ich bleibe wahrscheinlich sitzen. It literally means I will possibly remain sitting. The problem with that is in German, that expression means that you failed and you have to sit for the next year's class. That means you have to repeat a grade. In Germany is really interesting too, just as a cultural note, they don't care if you fail. Like they want you to succeed, but if you fail, you fail. You don't go on, which provides a lot of incentive for students to pay attention in class. Here in the States, we look at some things a little bit more subjectively, and you know that's culturally it's just a little bit different. The attitude and perspective of the teachers over there, especially teachers over there, in my opinion, have a higher social status than teachers in the States. Teachers in the States tend to leverage a high degree of empathy, whereas teachers over in Germany, they leverage a high degree of standard, which it creates a couple things. They're a little bit less being friends with your teacher, which shouldn't happen anyways, but you understand what I mean is they tend to be more friendly. So let's go ahead and go on to number 3. Nummer 3. Okay, wir. Now remember, wir is that en. So you're going to put wir schreiben eine Klassenarbeit. So Klassenarbeit is a test. So we are going to be doing a test. Okay? So wir schreiben eine Klassenarbeit. This next one's a little tricky because it's a question. So it's going to start with a verb. Blank du die Prüfung. Now, the thing with this is going to be a little bit different. So en goes away. N is going to get an ST. And my thing is going to tell me. Okay, the thing is going to get an ST. So what that means is, there we go, I think it was like that. Bestehst du die Prüfung? Means, are you going to pass the test? It literally means to withstand the test, but it really means to pass the test. Okay. The next one, I love this. So das Haus, it kind of falls under the same category as this, because anytime that you have that house, you're talking about it doing something. So das Haus, and you're going to take that out, and you're going to say brennt. Okay, and again, this thing does this, I don't know why. So it is brennt. Okay, so das Haus brennt. Good. Let me see if I can put this a little differently for you guys. All right, now when you look at ihr, which one are we going to use? Ihr, we're going to get that T up there at the top, okay? So what we're going to do, ihr, take away the en, and you're going to add a T. Ihr singt sehr schön. All right? You know what? We'll probably go through the rest of these because this is a very important topic, and I'd like to have you just get used to the mechanics of it. Okay, so then we got meine Schwester, my sister, und ihr Freund, and her friend. What do they do? So that's two people, and I want to say they, okay? So we've got kochen. Okay, so which ending am I going to use? We are going to use they. We're going to use en. Oh gosh, thank goodness. Sie kochen. So the reason we use kochen and we say they, because meine Schwester und ihr Freund kochen sehr gern. That means that there's two people and we want to say that they cook very well. Okay? So the next one, Eric blank die Hausaufgaben. Hausaufgaben is homework. We want to say that he does the homework, but it's just one person. Eric is just one guy. So he gets a T. Okay. So let's go back down to Eric. We would say, Eric macht die Hausaufgaben. Okay. Nummer 9. We, blank die Aufgabe nicht. So the assignment not. So this one, they use the word verstehen. So we would use on this, wir verstehen die Aufgaben nicht. And again, if you check up here, up at the top, you see that it's an EN. Okay, wir verstehen. All right, last one. Ich tanz. You got to take away the EN. And which ending did we have for E? We check back up at the chart. We have an E ending. Okay? So, let's go back down. Ich tanze sehr gern. I dance. I like to dance is technically what that all means. Okay? So, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and just review that again and complete any questions. Great work.